पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिता भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. Very happy to pick up where we left last week. Speaking this morning here in India from the beautiful city of Mysore, of the Maharajas, from Sadhana Mandira, a nice spiritual center in this city. In the last class, as all of you remember, we covered the shloka which is perhaps the most quoted shloka from Bhagavad Geetā. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. If you take just the first expression, karmani eva adhikaraste, that is like hitting every one of us with a hammer stroke. For every one of us, whenever our work, our duty, our responsibilities get a bit too much on our nerves, we think of sannyasa. Let us walk away to Himalayas. Let us join some ashram and so on. Or need not be spirituality, but leave our duty and go away is an impulse that arises in every one of us. In fact, I met once one sadhu in an ashram. He said, I am tired of work here. I want to go away somewhere. I said, you have already gone away from all responsibilities and come to this ashram. Where do you want to go now? He said, this ashram is no good. Another ashram will give me perhaps peace of mind. And this happened, can you believe? Not in Madras or Bombay, Bangalore or Hyderabad. This is an actual incident that happened in a beautiful ashram by the bank of Ganga in Rishikesh. I had gone there with some of my students, and that brahmachari, not yet a Swami, he almost fell at my feet saying, please take me and admit me in your Bombay ashram. All of us, my students and I, were admiring that ashram by the bank of Ganga. And we said how nice it would be if we were to be here. But that sadhu was hoping that he would get admission to our Bombay ashram. So the grass on other side of the river looks greener is such a truth that applies to every area of life. Now, this sentence, karmanyevadikaraste, is a strong message. Do not in haste go away from where life has brought you. There is a deep philosophy which says that life gives to us difficulties with a purpose. Any difficulties you and I face, either physical difficulties, and more often you and I experience the difficulty of somebody disapproving our ways, somebody finding fault with us, somebody criticizing us, or somebody not praising us enough. So we get irritated. Everybody praises me, this person praises me less, therefore we are agitated. So it is said such scenario is meant for making us introspect. But the whole science of the Vedanta makes room for 1 in 1,000 who are truly endowed with vairagya. Otherwise, it would be injustice to the science of spirituality. If it is said Everybody has to stay put no matter what. No. 1 in 1,000, if that lady or man introspects and finds that there is no true attachment anymore, there is no clinging, there is no selfish motive or self interest. If one is sure that I have no self interest anymore in this place where I am, in this family setting where I am, in this institutional setting where I am, I have no self interest, I have no attachment, then the same science of spirituality not only says you may go, but says you must go. Don't delay anymore. So, those who have the Viveka and Vairagya, those who have the emotional maturity, may go and must go. But that is always a very small number. The large majority of all of us are not yet ready. Therefore, karmani eva, stay put in karma and day by day increase your selfless approaches, selfless outlooks. You have been doing things expecting reward, expecting praise, and so on. Learn to do things without expecting any recognition, any pat on your back, and so on. And this teaching indeed is one of the central teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Asakti is attachment to what will I get in this? What will please my ego, my sense of who I am? So we must distinguish between a general I, which is innocent, a pure I, simple I. Then there is an I, which we call the ego, which is image centered, which is centered in a certain picture that we have of ourselves. And we generally want that picture, that image to be further fortified. If we have an image that I am a very morally sound person, we are always looking for people to further reinforce that. You are the moral monarch. You are the example of the highest moral conduct, etc. Somebody should say, we expect. But then there comes somebody who says, ah, you speak well, your Shastra Jnana is good, but I am afraid your real life, 24-hour life, is not in alignment with what you are talking. We get very angry and we will use Shastra statements to attack him. So that shows that we are attached to a certain image. We want to be in any field. I am the best scientist, I am the best professor, I am the best administrator, etc. In whatever way. That is ego. Please do not mix the ego with a simple sense of I. Vedanta asks us to stay with the simple sense of I and let go of the ego. Karmanyeva adhikaraste. One last time I would say, I fully go with Adi Shankaracharya, who gives first the meaning Karmani eva na jnane na sannyase na tyage karmani eva, not in renunciation. Secondly, he accepts the interpretation which is supported by the shloka also, ma phaleshu. You must be focusing on doing your duty well without dissipating energy on the possible results. Ma phaleshu. Then ma karma phala heturbuh. Do not seek the results to such an extent that your seeking the results ensures further births, again being born, and so on. And lastly, very important again for every one of us, Mate Sangaha Astu Akarmani. Many a time, recognizing that we are being selfish, we tend to just not do at all. That is not fair. That is not right. You see, life is a tightrope walk. Afraid that we will fall on the left side, we should not fall on the right side. We shouldn't fall at all. Tightrope walk means you walk with tremendous balance, neither falling on the left side nor falling on the right side. So to fall on the left side here, stay selfish, and to fall on the right side is doing anything at all. Resign, stay away, keep mum. To keep mum really is great, but our keeping mum is just avoiding the particular context. We have many other desires and thoughts and mental noise. So, akarma ma bhavet, na bhavet. Let there be no inaction, let there be no selfish action, let there be selfless action. Having said this, we now go to the very next verse. Sri Shankaracharya introduces the next shloka 48. यदि कर्मफल प्रयुक्तेन न कर्तव्यम कर्म कथम तरहि कर्तव्यम. If we don't do work with the motive of some reward gratifying our ego, then that has been our way all along. But if that is not to be continued, in what other way are we to do karma? Katam tarhi kartavyam. Katam means katam anya prakarena kartavyam. Iti uchyate. Therefore, 48, I guess Vinoba or someone called it the Chatussutri of Karma Yoga. I am not very happy with that interpretation, but it is true that in the 48th verse, which we'll read now, there are four instructions, four sutras. Yogastaha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhi asiddhyoho samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yes, the four quarters can be looked at as four sutras. But I'm not all that happy with that meaning because it doesn't give four guidelines. It throws light on karma yoga in four ways. Yogastaha kuru karmani is an imperative statement. Perform action seated in or stationed in yoga. Number one. Sangam Tyaktva also can be looked at as indirectly an imperative. Give up your personal attachment. And third one also can be considered as a guideline. Stay equal towards success and failure. But the fourth one is not a guideline. Fourth one is a description. Staying equal in this way itself is yoga. However, I would imagine that Vinoba Bhave, who called it Chatussutri, perhaps respected even a description as a sutra. For I guess there is no rule that the sutras have to be imperative only. Two or three can be imperatives, do this, don't do that, and one or two can also be a description, throwing light on karma yoga. Therefore, I would stay with him or support that interpretation. Though I was personally looking for a shloka which gives the four guidelines or five guidelines. These are the ways in which you must do karma yoga. Yogastaha kuru karmani. If there is a word which has numerous meanings in spiritual science, that is yoga. The word yoga in Bhagavad Gita itself perhaps means 12 to 15 things, if not more. Somewhere yoga could be bhakti, somewhere yoga could be just calmness of mind, somewhere yoga could be connecting our mind to the higher, somewhere it is meditation, somewhere it is, as we will see, dexterity or skill in action. How many meanings are applied to yoga? We cannot imagine. Therefore, we need to take help of great illumined scholarly saints like Adi Shankaracharya. He interprets yoga here as Ishwararpana Buddhi. You and I may not have much appreciation of this Ishwara and Ishwararpana. In fact, in today's world, Perhaps it was so in the olden days, I don't know. But today's world, definitely, a large number of Hindus, even those who go to temples and whatnot, do not take God seriously. No wonder, therefore, a large number of Hindus, Sanatana Dharmis, actually join some Buddhist Vipassana and so on and make that the center of their life. I wish them well and I do appreciate Vipassana, but having been exposed to the wisdom of the Hindu Dharma in various ways, I for one am convinced that if we take God out of the picture, well, it is some injustice to the whole science. But I hasten to add, to many people, some simple practice of calming the mind with some breath observation, etc., might bring a lot of relief. They are agitated, they are troubled souls, they have no peace of mind, their mind is wandering. Then comes a Buddhist exercise, which completely keeps God out, which says, manage your energy, observe your breathing, watch yourself even as you are doing small things, washing dishes or gardening in the backyard, no matter what, be mindful, and so on. And modern Hindus, educated in Western kinds of education, were also, like in India, in the name of secularism, God is kept at a good distance. So they don't understand this whole matter of God. Though not only in Sanatana Dharma, but in Sikhism and in many other schools of thought on the soil of India, God has been highly recognized. Ek Omkar Karta Purak is the first mantra of Nanak Dev's Granth Sahib. It talks of God. Granth Sahib, of which I don't claim to know much, but over the years I have heard quite a bit from my friends and from other sources. So much of the poetry in Granth Sahib is all submission to God. Sumiran, 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 Simran, 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 Simran. I think Smara of Sanskrit becomes Sumiran and then Simran. Remember God, remember God, remember God all the time. I believe is one poetic line. Therefore, a lot of Punjabi girls are named Simran. That is constant remembrance. God is a very powerful truth, not fancy, not imagination. Atheistic schools talk in the manner God did not create human beings. Human beings created God, they say. God bless them. I would not go with them. I feel fortunate to have understood the beauty of the, the whole Siddhanta, whole Tattva of Ishvara. Ishvara is the solid foundation of religions. However, one more time I would say, we do not only respect, we do encourage. Suppose a daughter of ours, a nephew of ours was feeling life was meaningless. At home or at work or somewhere, she or he had certain stress and tension, and she or he finds tremendous calmness through these godless philosophies of the world. We say, God bless them. And who would not be happy if a troubled niece, an agitated nephew, is nowadays more cheerful and does some Buddhist meditation morning and evening? We are indeed happy. But if we are truly exposed and if we are truly guided, thanks to the teachings of masters like Sri Ramana Maharshi, who, in spite of all his great state of egoless awareness, always acknowledged God, calling God Appa, Father. Oh, Father, I have come, he said while entering Arunachala temple. And for rest of his life, when he lived at the base of Arunachala hill, on so many occasions, he acknowledged it is all grace of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva in the form of this Arunachala. It's a great mystery. No wonder, therefore, Islam and Christianity, Sikhism and Hinduism all have a very special place for God. Karma Yoga, as per Sri Ramana Maharshi, in this very crisp and short shloka he gives in Upadesha Sara, begins with Ishwararpitam. One shloka, the shloka 3, Ishwararpitam Nechaya Kritam Chitta Shodhakam Mukti Sadhakam. The first thing he says is Ishwararpitam. But I would conclude this somewhat digression saying it is the misfortune of us Hindus that at this time, maybe because of so many foreign invasions, influences, and control by the British government and so on, who looked down at Hinduism, who allowed missionaries to stand in the middle of busy markets during their time and loudly say, Rama and Krishna are false and our God is true and so on. So Hinduism had to bear with so many blows. Hinduism has somewhat stood the test of time, but not without some cost. Hinduism had to pay a price. So Hindu dharma these days, even now, it is yet to come out of its decadence. You talk of rituals, the so-called educated Hindus make a face, and they feel proud about it. Actually, karma, puja, japa, various anushtanas are so true, are so powerful. Let me say this example and move on. A lot of people want to look at karma yoga as social service. Actually, the whole Shastra basically says love of God and doing things for God is the hallmark of karma yoga. Serving humanity or all forms of life, animals, and so on, can be a corollary, can be another extension. Like I said about Buddhism, here too, if someone doesn't do puja, someone doesn't do japa, but serves humanity, we respect them. For after all, it does good to people, and this lady or man gets some peace of mind. Wonderful. But if only they study the Shastras, if only they get a clear picture of the whole spiritual science, Adhyatma Vidya, they would know that love of God, submission to God, recognizing the glory of God is like the theorem. It is the primary thing, and then serving people is the secondary thing, like corollary. For somebody begins with corollary, we say God bless him. Therefore, I go with Adi Shankaracharya with all my heart. Yogastaha, he interprets, it is Ishwararpana Buddhya. Kevalam Ishwarartham. Yogastaha Kuru is interpreted by Bhashyakara. Kevalam Ishwarartham tatrapi Ishwaro me tushyatu iti sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. On one hand, why am I doing this? My boss is not happy with me. My colleagues criticize me. My pay is not adequate, suppose someone says. In spite of all that, it is sad that these people find fault with me. It is sad that I get less paid, but I am doing this work so that God be pleased with me. Ishwaraha me tushyatu iti sangam tyaktva. My attachment is not to the pay. In proper ways, I will try to have proper pay. Not that you keep quiet. You at the right time, on right occasion, tell the authorities concerned for increasing your pay if there is such a problem. Karma Yoga never says become passive and do not express your difficulties. Karma Yoga says let that not be a source of undue dissipation of emotional energy. Try in fair means, like Gandhiji Satyagraha. For Satya, you may do Agraha. Jolly well, you may do. That's not contrary to Karma Yoga. But primarily, you are saying to yourself, may God be pleased with honest work that I am doing. Yogastaha kuru karmani. So this alone also is adequate. I shall do everything so that God is pleased with me. If that is our approach, then we are yogastaha. That meaning can be very well justified because, as all of you know, yoga means union. So unite with God and do your work, as it will come in the Gita on many occasions in several ways. The most famous one being in the 8th chapter, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Mam Anusmara is remember God. Yudhya means do your duty. Yogastha kuru karmani. Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Give up your attachment to the so-called personal gratification, personal praise, personal recognition, and so on. Here too, like I said about salary, if you are doing something and people are not recognizing, Gita doesn't say work towards making them understand. You may work, but it should not be primary. You may always fight for justice, but primarily you must be saying that if God is pleased, that's good enough for me. But that doesn't mean I remain inactive. If these people don't understand my contribution, I will do whatever is fair, whatever is within the domain of dharma to make them understand. Not telling lies or not doing something adharmic. Through dharmic ways, I would like to let people know how I am contributing. Their misunderstanding me is not acceptable. That's all fine. But primarily, your joy is in God. Siddhi asiddhyoho samo bhutva. Remain equal in success and failure. I myself was pleasantly surprised when I saw in the Bhashya, not first time, I have been reading Bhashya for decades, but in the Bhashya, rather than giving the much expected meaning of Siddhi and Asiddhi, that is success in the world, we do a project, we want it to succeed. Bhashyakara gives the meaning, we are into spiritual practice. Success has to be taken as Jnana Prapti, Atma Jnana Prapti. And failure has to be taken here as Atmajnana Aprapti. We will see that soon. Therefore, on whatever level, as we are doing work, if the work is successful in the limited context of what that work was meant to be, I write an examination and I pass with good marks and so on. That is in that framework of that studying and writing an examination. And like that in life, from birth till death, all of us have been trying to do many things, and there is something called success, something called failure. But another level, higher and higher and higher, the highest level is having performed everything without any selfishness. Have I gained self realization? Not really. I still feel separation. I still have regrets about some errors, wrongs I had done before. I still have anxiety about what will happen tomorrow. Then the separate self is up and active. The test of the pudding is in its eating, goes the saying. If you have gained Atmajnana, you cannot have any regrets about what you did 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 10 minutes ago. Because Atmajnana has no room for any image to persist. Whereas in the absence of Atmajnana, though we study Upanishads, we teach Upanishads, we sing Upanishads, we sing loudly, Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. We do all that, lot of drama we do. But our mind never stops thinking about some unpleasant episode that happened maybe in recent past or maybe in the distant past. And in the light of that unpleasant episode, our mind creates an image of what a fool I was, what a terrible sinner I have been, what an inefficient or lazy person I have been. And from the height of Atmajnana, even self improvement is a hang up of the ignorant. Those who want to improve themselves are decidedly ignorant. I want to improve. I want to get up early tomorrow morning, tomorrow onwards. You know, I want to finish things fast. I want to learn better time management, leadership skills, communication. I'm going to attend this crash course coming weekend and will emerge as an excellent, etc. God bless you. We don't come in your way, but to do justice to the whole science, that is the clearest sign of not having Atmajnana. Because if you know you are the Atma, why would you want to improve yourself? Atma doesn't need better time management. This may puzzle some people. Swamiji, please be practical, somebody may say. So please do not misunderstand. And we are not saying that in Atmajnana you let go of all concern for punctuality or efficiency or right sleep, etc. In Atmajnana, all of them happen on their own. When you are free of regrets, you will sleep better, you will get up fresh and fine at 3:30 or 4 a.m. When you are free of regrets, when you are free of mental hang-ups, because all of them go away in pure self-knowledge. Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Satchidasmi. If that is understood, then there is no room either regretting how lazy I have been or planning to not be lazy. This I have been lazy and I want to be hardworking are both signs of identification with the personality. Therefore, the meaning given by Bhashyakara is very fascinating. And then comes the description. The fourth quarter of the shloka definitely is not another instruction. In fact, even if you say no, indirectly it's an instruction. Samatvam yoga yachyate means it's asking us to be equal. Then it's a repetition because the third quarter already said siddhi asiddhyoho samo bhutva. So the fourth quarter, chaturthaha padaha asya shlokasya varnanam eva. It is a description. And that description helps in its own way. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Therefore, more than some physical exercise, the headstand, shirshasana or some such thing, more than some other kind of skill, some other kind of efficiency, yogis are able to hold their breath for a long time. Some yogis we hear can stay under the ground with everything covered by soil. They are inside, and after some years or after some months, people dig up and bring him out, he is still alive. So yoga has numerous meanings, point popularly, but Sri Krishna, a revolutionary at his time, says true yoga is samatvam. If when we recognize that we haven't yet been freed of ego, we still carry some regrets and equally pride also. When we remember some happy episodes, we feel pride. When we remember those who praised us, our self-esteem goes up. When we remember those who criticized us, our self-esteem gets a blow. But self-esteem is a mischief of our thoughts. Self-esteem, self-worth, etc. We are talking from a very high point of spirituality. They are, of course, mischief of the mind. And one who is anchored in the purest self-knowledge doesn't come down to the plane of the mind. She or he is aware of thoughts. Even if thoughts generate a regret, the inner wisdom, the inner intelligence looks at it as some residue of the past. When they asked Maharshi Ramana, do you get dreams? With our limited knowledge or immature knowledge, we would imagine an enlightened person who might say, no dreams anytime. His answer is interesting. He said, rarely, sometimes I do get dreams. Then he said, when I didn't digest the food properly, it can lead to some dreams. Some explanation he has given. Maharshi Ramana was so upfront, so down to earth. He was least concerned with giving a politically correct answer. We are always, in this world, we are always concerned with what is the right thing to say. What is the truth? We do not worry. What is the right thing to say? And nowadays, with the explosion of media, we are all the more concerned. This will come tomorrow on newspaper, on the TV, in the internet. This, my answer, they are all doing video. So the video clip will go on WhatsApp around the world. Therefore, I must know what is politically correct. Shiva Shiva, that is such a tragedy. Maharshi Ramana, I am sure, even if there were 10 cameras, videographing, video recording his conversation, would have said the same. For he was not anchored, he was not caught in any image. Vimla Takar uses an expression. The highest wisdom is all about staying in an image free consciousness. That means you are conscious, you are alert, and images which may rise in your mind do not hold you captive. You gently look at them and smile. Mind of an enlightened person also has its vagaries. And that mind also sometimes may get kama, krodha, etc. But as the expression goes, certain intelligence has awakened in her, the lady who has got enlightened. And that awakened intelligence looks at that lust or greed, etc., with a smile, with sympathy. And whatever has to happen because of Prakriti's gunas will happen. Therefore, strictly speaking, not that it should be taken as a license by anybody, strictly speaking, an enlightened person may have bank balance, may have family, may have children, etc., etc. Though that may not generally happen, but the Siddhanta doesn't come in the way because Siddhanta says even as the body and mind may be engaged in any kind of activity, money related, pleasure related, power related, position related, doesn't matter. Even as the BMI, body, mind, and intellect are engaged in anything, the intelligence clearly sees, I am not in them. Therefore, yogarato va, bhogarato va, sangarato va, sangavihinaha, yasya brahmani ramate chittam, nandati, nandatyeva says Bhajagovindam. A short commentary by Bhashyakara can be seen now, may be seen. Yogastaha sun. Sun means being. Sun, being. Being anchored in yoga, kuru karmani. That's the first sutra. Yogastha kuru karmani. What does it mean? Kevalam Ishwarartham Tatra api Ishwaro me tushyatu iti Sangam Tyaktva. So Bhashyakara combines first and second sutra in one explanation. Be anchored in Ishwararpana Buddhi and let go of the desire to please yourself. We generally are going around with a begging bowl. Somebody should praise us. Somebody should talk well of us. If somebody comes and reports to us, oh, other day I was at that party and so and so was praising you. We are very happy to hear that. And with eyes open, wide open, we say to him, really? Did you yourself hear that? And are you sure that guy was talking about me? You know, then when the friend assures us, yes, that minister, that powerful person, famous person was talking about you and was all praise for you. How good we feel, for we have been wanting to hear that. So wanting to hear our praise is Sangha. That is attachment to the image. We would like to drop our attachment to our image. That is when we can stay firmly in the pure consciousness, which is not an image. An image is a mischief of thought. An image is response of memory. Memories come and they rob us of the beauty of the present. Seeing a beautiful sunrise, we could be experiencing chest pain if our memories are unpleasant and memories are taking us on a ride. The sunrise, however beautiful it is, will not mean anything. Therefore, we say memories hijack us. And somewhere else, the opposite also could happen. Some pleasant memories make us so happy. We could be in a noisy market street and there is so much din and roar and there is some foul smell also. But have we all not experienced at times in such a place some pleasant memories come to us and we become completely indifferent to the noise or the bad smell, etc. The happy memories make us smile. And somebody next to us looks at us, why are you smiling? Why are you happy? Are you not bothered by the bad smell? Etc. We say, I know it is, but I remembered something and I tell you later. In this noise, I can't, you won't hear. But, I suddenly remembered what happened in 1994. Rama Rama, 26 years have passed and you are remembering that. And in spite of the foul smell and the din and roar of the market, you are feeling on top of the world. See, that is what memory does. Having said that, in no way I am hinting that we must suppress memories or control memories and bottle them up anywhere. The great aushadham, the great remedy, great medicine for getting out of this kapimushti, the grip of memories, is to learn to look at them without indulging in them. Look at the memories without resisting them. Neither fight with them nor hug them, but look at them dispassionately, without a bias. For don't underestimate yourself. You actually are such intelligence. You, by nature, are pure intelligence. Do not always go for tackling thoughts with the help of thought. Thought is an inferior tool compared with awareness that you are. The pure intelligence, free of thought, can do wonders. Therefore, tap the power of seeing, tap the power of observation, tap the power of that light within you. You are of the nature of light. Watch your thoughts, whether it is superiority, inferiority, jealousy, whatever it is, in Laukika context or in Adhyatmika context. Sometimes we regret we didn't make, let's say, enough money in life. Or some other time we say, some of us say, I made a lot of money, but that is how spiritually I am backward. So that is also a regret. That is also a thought. Any judgment. I did well materially, but I have lagged behind. My three brothers are spiritually ahead, and so on. How do you know? One of them goes every week to Tirupati. You know, that makes you think he is superior. I think so. You imagine. Don't judge yourself just on some kind of superficial criteria. So by somebody's dress. And my uncle was a Swamiji in Rishikesh. Once somebody said, I said to him, that's good to hear, but you don't know details, right? Just because he was in Rishikesh in orange robes and he never came back to the little town where all of you were, that is not enough to imagine that he was sitting facing Ganga and daily going to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. You don't know. With the due respect to your uncle who took sannyas and lived in Rishikesh, please do not over imagine that uncle, this brother, that nephew, this cousin, etc. are way ahead and I am caught in this samsara, etc. No. Whatever it is, if something bothers you, gently look at it, try to see it objectively. In fact, don't even analyze it. Just look at it alertly. Just alert observation in a certain mysterious way will open up the secrets of all the dirty things that the mind does and they will fall flat. Sri Shankaracharya says, Falatrishna shunyena kriyamane karmani. When works are done by someone who is shunya, free, who is free of falatrishna, then Sattva Shuddhija Jnana Prapti Lakshana Siddhi. Success ought to smile upon him or her. What is that Siddhi? What is that success? Jnana Prapti. More and more insights, more and more personal insights. Shastras have said great things, Mahatmas have said great things, wonderful, but you yourself will see from inside you a certain new vision arises. That is Jnana Prapti Lakshana Siddhi, and that is born of Sattva Shuddhi Ja. Ja means Janita, born. Born of inner purification. Born of inner purification, you will have not just scholarly knowledge, which has a place of its own, but insights. You see so clearly and directly, as the expression in the Shastras goes, Karatala Amalakavat, like a gooseberry fruit placed right upon your palm, how so easily you see it. In that fashion, you see that no image actually describes you. Images are Maya, are not true. You are indescribable. I am, period. I am, full stop. Such things, I just gave an example. Siddhihi. But that may not happen so easily. Some karma yogis may begin to have tremendous liberating insights. Some other karma yogis, though they are doing everything as an offering to God, though they have let go of their fancy for name and fame, for recognition and so on. In spite of their sincere effort, some may not get. Tad viparyaja asiddhi. So tad viparyaya is sattva ashuddhi, chitta shuddhi and chitta ashuddhi. Ja is born. Tad viparyaja asiddhi. If the mind somehow hasn't got pure enough, then that Dana Prapti will not take place. That is a failure in a way. But as you and I become more emotionally mature, no matter what, we continue with our Nishkama Karma. In a corner of our mind, there may be a little sadness that I have been doing all this for such a long time. Still, I am not free from my own mind's noise, mental chatter. My own mind, even now, after all these years and years of sadhana, my mind still carries certain pain, some agony. Sometimes some of us may not worry about financial loss or feel lost an election or some of these worldly things. But sometimes we remember that we had been unfair to someone. Someone wanted our help and we just said, no, I cannot, and we chased him away. Even we teachers sometimes suddenly remember how we were unfair to some student, too hard on some student, and very, very kind and caring and forgiving towards another student. One student does a little mistake and we drive him away from the ashram. You are not fit for Vedanta, go. And another person has been, she or he, making several mistakes, and somehow we were so kind to her, to him, just giving some loving advice. It's okay, do better tomorrow, all right? And even if the student says, Sir, I don't think I am fit for Vedanta, I want to leave the ashram. We become so kind, saying, no, 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 don't leave. You are a very good student, stay. So when we remember later on how we were not really impartial, it brings us a certain sorrow. Then there is Asiddhi. I already said, no matter what, whatever it is, any regret that in 2002 I took a wrong decision, in 99 I took the wrong course, etc. Who is that I? Which is that I? Why are you still in tight embrace with that I? Who am I? Nanyar. Maharshi would say, question that I which made a foul decision in 99, and that I which spoke something very improper in 2002, etc. This is how memories come. That I who was very attached to one student and too judgmental and harsh to another student, that I is dead and gone. You are not that I. You are pure Satchit. With proper Vedanta study, these do not remain mere words. These words carry the truth. You have an insight. You know, yeah, that is true. I am not anyone. Even this morning, if I was lazy and got up late, and I have a little regret. Oh, I was lazy, could not get out of the bed easily. Who is that I? Is that I still valid? Is that I still up and active? If it is up and active, that is a mischief of thought. That I who either got up at 4 a.m. Brahma Muhurta and meditated, or another day could not get up even at 6:45, 7, let's say, that I is no more valid. Therefore, in the practice of who am I inquiry, with lot of insightfulness drawn from the scriptures, we are able to dismiss various images of ourselves. Not that we are irresponsible. If we were unkind to somebody 20 years ago, by saying I just dropped that image, we are not being irresponsible. On the contrary, suddenly suppose we were to meet that person, student or whoever, we remember and we may even openly say, I'm sorry for being harsh to you in 2001. Is there something I can do for you? We may even apologize. That civic behavior, that gentle behavior, that honest conduct will spontaneously come from us. But that doesn't mean total endorsement of that ego. See, in Vyavahara, we go by noble values, which comes to us spontaneously if there is self knowledge. But deep inside, we know that both guilt and pride, shame or high self esteem, etc., are all in the avidya bhumi. In vidya bhumi, the pure I is free from either guilt or shame or pride or any other self judgment. There is no self judgment at all because self judgment strengthens the little I. Sri Shankaracharya says, Tad viparyaja asiddhihi tayoho siddhya siddhyoho api samaha tulyo bhutva kuru karmani. So even as in a corner of your mind you feel, oh, I don't think I have reached anywhere. Don't get stuck there. Move on. Do your duty with love of God. Kaha asau yogaha yatrastaha kuru iti uktam. What actually is this yoga? Earlier it was said yogastaha kuru. Sri Krishna compassionately gives the definition. In one definition, it was said it is Ishwararpana, offering to God. Another definition is Samatvam. They go together. They are two sides of the same coin. When we have offered it all to God, we are bound to be Sama, equal. So later on, we'll get one more popular definition Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Please do not imagine that is another kind of karma yoga. They are all different ways of describing the same state of mind, the same approach, where from one angle of view we say it is complete surrender to God. From another angle of view, we say there is such equanimity in success and failure. And from a third angle of view, that Kaushalam will come in a subsequent shloka, two shlokas down the way. There it is. It is a special skill, Kaushalam, a special skill of not getting bound by actions which generally bind you. So the skill of not getting bound, that we shall examine later. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.